I have a 2007 VTX 1300. I'm going to do an oil change. I've got the bike raised up on blocks. I've got a 2x8 in the back, the front, and underneath the stand. We're going to go ahead now, remove two bolts, one in the back and another one right there in the front. We're going to go ahead and drain the oil out, and after that we're going to go ahead and change out the oil filter in the back. Let me get started on while we're waiting for the oil to drain out. Just wanted to show you I use the Rotella Shell T6 oil. Just want to make sure the oil that you use, if it's an automotive oil, is does not have any energy conserving additives like this one does. This basically otherwise will cause your clutch to slip. That's about it. There's a ton of forums that you can go online and figure out what kind of oil you want to use. So do your research and pick the oil that you want to go with. This is significantly cheaper than motorcycle oil. It's no different, so I'm just running with that. The other thing I'm using is I've used different oil filters. I'm using the HIFLO here, but currently the oil filter that I had on the bike wasn't a HIFLO. It was this same oil filter. In the past, I have used automotive oil filter, and I've chosen a longer one, which gives you more filtering capability, but you have to add a little bit more oil. The amount of oil that we're going to use, on a side note, again, there's a lot of forums online that you can figure out. If you do not want to use a motorcycle oil filter from the dealer, you can find out what other automotive oil filters that you can use. Mobile One is probably one of the better ones you want to go with, or you can go with a Wix brand filter, and then there's a Pure Liter one, and there's a Pure Liter and a Pure Liter one. I believe the Pure Liter one is a better filter, so again, you can go with those. So you can go with the standard size, or you can go with the longer one. Both will fit in the oil filter area, and the longer one will get you a little bit more, like I said, a little bit more filtering. So anyhow, choose your filter. There's about 4 quarts of oil that's going to go in this motorcycle if you're using the regular. Otherwise, you just add a little bit more. Use a dipstick to make sure that you've added the correct amount of oil to the vehicle. And as you can see, pretty much we're at a dripping point. It stopped. So I'm going to go ahead and put the cleaned up bolts back on, and then we're good to roll. You do have some crimp washers on here that you want to make sure that if you're able to see if any of the stuff is dented or needs replacing, you can get crimp washers from your Honda dealer that cost pretty much nothing. Just pick one of those up and use them for replacing ones that have gone bad. When checking the oil level, you are checking against this mark here, which is a lower mark, and this is the upper mark, which is the upper full. When checking the oil, you do want to make sure that the oil dipstick is sitting like that. It's not pushed in all the way. You're just sitting it right there and then pulling it out and checking it. The other thing to keep in mind is you need to make sure that the motorcycle is straightened when checking the levels by these 2 markings. What I've done here is I've gone ahead and marked in a lower and upper mark on my dipstick, just using a file, marked it up, while the motorcycle is sitting in its normal position the way it would be normally. Otherwise, you will have to either use a stand to make the bike stand up straight, or have someone else sit up on a bike, pull it up straight, and then check the oil level. So a workaround around it is to mark your dipstick so that you don't need the help of anybody else to see what the oil level is without straightening the bike. The other thing I want to point out is at this point, another tip is when you take a look at the coolant level, when the engine is hot, I marked with a Sharpie where the mark level should be without having to straighten out the bike. So right now the bike is almost warmed up. It's not there all the way yet, so I'm a little lower. But when the bike is going to be hot, that red line will be where the Sharpie mark is. Then I know that the water level, coolant level is on the upper side when hot. And then I did not mark the lower end, just going off of when the fluid is hot. So that was the other tip I just wanted to point out. So tip number 1, again, mark your dipstick low and high, cold and hot, while the bike is on its stand, and you'll never have to worry about straightening the bike up when you're checking the oil fill. Let me know if you have any questions. Hopefully this video served as a helpful tutorial for doing your own VTX 1300 oil change.